Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, as I'm sure you can tell by the thumbnail, we are going to be testing out and reviewing the new Valentine's Day themed Secret Admirer collection from Colourpop. When I saw the promo pictures for this collection, I knew right away that it was right up my alley in terms of the aesthetic and the color story. You guys know I am a big fan of pink and I can't get enough of pink eyeshadows this year. Actually, it's almost like replaced coral as my go-to even neutral type of color scheme, because I don't know if you guys remember, in past years, like 2 or 3 years ago, it used to be all about the corals and the oranges for me, and I still like coral, but my preference has definitely shifted to more pinks and reds and just more of those poppy, sultry tones. I originally planned to purchase the bundle set of the entire collection, but when I tell you that this collection was selling out so fast on launch day, perhaps not every single item, but definitely the heart blushes. I think these were like brought back from a previous year's Valentine's Day release, and yeah, it seems like everyone was waiting with bated breath to get their hands on these heart-shaped blushes in particular. When I first tried to check out my cart with the entire bundle set, it had already sold out by the time that I tried to process my payment, so my payment was denied. And then I saw that the individual blushes were going super fast as well, so by that point I just threw like whatever main items that I wanted in my cart and ordered it. So there was actually only one blush shade left by the time I checked out, and that would be this one right here. It's called Text Me. It's a really bright fuchsia pink. It's what I have on my cheeks right now. I'll show you the full application footage later on. They have since restocked a couple of the other shades on their site though, so if you were interested in this, definitely go check Colourpop's website to see what has been restocked. And then of course I picked up the Secret Admirer pressed powder palette. I think this is pretty much modeled after their standard 9-pan palettes, just with a few extra special Valentine's Day themed designs thrown in. So for example, the cardboard box for the outside packaging, it actually opens up like an envelope, kind of like a love letter, which I think is really cute. And then the palette itself is just a classic magnetic closure with the 9 shades laid out inside, and as you can see, of course, 2 of the shades are featured in a special heart cutout pan, which is a really cute detail. The overall artwork for this collection I also really personally enjoy. I think it's like very cutesy and sweet, but while still being understated. It kind of reminds me of that angel devil design that was really popular back in the day. I want to say 90s, but I think it was actually the 2000s. I don't know about other countries, but definitely in America and North America, I guess, in general, this type of angel devil artwork was really popular, almost reminiscent of tattoo art. And the Secret Admirer lettering on the cover here is also shiny and a little bit raised. And then finally, just on a pure whim, out of sheer curiosity, I picked up 2 of their Fresh Kiss lip creams right here. There were 6 new shades that they released just for this collection alone. It's kind of really large and almost overwhelming if you look at the collection in its entirety. I mean, I guess most of Colourpop's releases have like several items attached to them, but this one in particular, it just feels really huge when you think about it, which makes sense because it's a Valentine's Day release, so they're obviously trying to bank on that as much as they can. But yeah, so this is actually the second lip product that I've ever tried from Colourpop. I've only ever tried their Luxe lip oils before, so I can't speak to how they'll compare to other Colourpop liquid lip formulas, but I did want to try them out just because the description for their lip creams, which seems to be a newer formulation, it kind of reminded me of a lot of Korean like soft velvet matte type of liquid lipsticks that are on the market these days. So I wanted to see how they would compare, because we know Colourpop has been taking a lot of inspiration from Korean makeup lately, although they will probably never officially acknowledge it. So I love that for us. So let me briefly sum up my thoughts on this palette while I roll the application footage for this look that you see on my eyes right now. In the Secret Admirer pressed powder palette, you get 5 pure matte shades and 4 shimmer shades. No pressed glitter, which I know a lot of people, including myself, can really appreciate, because I don't know about you, but whenever I'm in the mood to add those chunkier, more ostentatious glitters to my look, I usually opt for one of my liquid formulations from Japanese and Korean brands, just because they're so much easier to work with. Like, you can control the placement better with the brush. They stick to my flatter eyelids more securely because it's wet, right? And then when they dry down completely, again, I feel like it's ensured that they're locked into place and staying put. I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day. So there's not much incentive for me personally to use pressed glitters in pan form, because although very pretty, most of the formulas I come across tend to flake off very easily, or worse, flake into my eye. Certain Korean brands are a little bit better because they have stronger, stickier bases, but still, it's like, why go through the hassle when I can just easily brush on some liquid glitter? But back to the Secret Admirer palette. So honestly, I have nothing bad at all really to say. I think it's the perfect flushed mauve pink color story for Valentine's Day. It has mass appeal because although it's very obviously pink themed, it's still overall quite neutral, and we all know that neutral color stories are what sell the best, right? But you still get your fun pop of fuchsia here with the Too Cute shade in the center for people who want to be a little more bold like me. There's also a great range of light to dark shadows in this palette, considering that it is monochromatic. I'm sure we've all experienced before, sometimes monochromatic palettes can leave you feeling like the shades are too similar to each other, or you would have liked a lighter or darker color added in for more contrast. But this palette definitely gets the balance just right in my opinion. So you can really create such a range of different looks from just this one palette alone, I think. You can dial it up or down depending on what intensity you're aiming for. Application-wise, I honestly have to say that this is the smoothest, most easily blendable palette that I've tried from Colourpop so far. It could also be that my makeup skills, I feel, have improved drastically over the past year. But even so, like this palette, I didn't run into any patchiness problems. The shades blended together beautifully. They don't look muddy when you blend them together, even with my tendency these days to overblend sometimes, just in an attempt to make my eyeshadow look as seamless and flawless as possible these days. I was still able to just simply go back in and add whatever shade that I felt got lost in the blending, and I would be able to like readjust the color really easily. Sometimes with other palettes or individual shades from Colourpop, I found that I had a harder time getting certain colors to stick to my lids. They would either flake off or not show up as vibrantly, no matter how much I packed on. But I'm very pleased to say that I did not run into that problem whatsoever here with the Secret Admirer palette. And even in the Mood, which is the lightest light pink shimmer shade up here, which I use to highlight the center of my lids, I didn't need any extra concealer or primer or anything to get it to show up against the darker mauve base that I had already laid down. It really holds its own as a topper shade. It's also actually really blinding and bright, almost white when reflected in the light, so I really appreciate that I didn't have to do anything extra for it to show up on my lids the way it looks in swatches. The only thing though is that it is very loose in the pan, I do have to say. It seems to be the softest formula of the 9 shades, at least in my palette, so just be careful when you're working with it. Okay, I'm almost done talking about the palette, but one very strange thing that I noticed, that I kid you not, I spent at least a good 10 to 15 minutes before even sitting down to do my makeup for this video, trying to search online and figure out what was going on. And like, I still don't know what's going on, so the mystery remains unsolved. But it's the fact that this shade on the center right, All Night, here it looks the same as on the Colourpop website, like the page where you would actually purchase the palette from. But then when I looked on Instagram, pretty much every single photo that I could find of this palette, both on the Colourpop official Instagram and also just posts from other people, the All Night shade in those pictures look radically different from the one in my pan. I'm gonna show the Instagram images. Like, if I were to go off of these alone, I would definitely classify All Night to be a bright Barbie fuchsia pink, you know, pretty much the matte version of Too Cute, right? But then here, the palette in my hands here is definitely not giving that whatsoever. It's more of just like, you know, a very soft rosy pink, maybe like a slightly deeper version of Everlasting. Like, to me, these are two completely different colors. It's making me wonder if I live in the Twilight Zone. Like, honestly, like, did the person or the machine that assembled this palette put the wrong one in there? Is that even possible? Am I crazy? Like, you guys tell me in the comments, please. These are definitely not the same shades, right? Like, usually, of course, lighting and different camera settings and stuff play a role, but these are not even remotely the same undertone or color family as far as I'm concerned. They're not even the same kind of pink. I don't know. Anyway, none of this takes away from my 10 out of 10 experience with this palette so far, but it's just so weird. I had to mention it. Okay, onwards to the blush. So like I mentioned, the only blush that was in stock when I checked out was Text Me, which turns out to be perfect actually, because I love this type of a shade. This is exactly what I wanted. This shocking pink, which seems to be the theme of my 2022 so far. I do have a brief experience with Colourpop's blushes. I own 2 of their Hello Kitty blushes from the Tropical Escape collaboration that they did last year, and I really enjoy those. Whenever I look at a Colourpop blush, my first instinct is, wow, that looks like straight up a large eyeshadow, you know? It's like so pigmented and intimidating, at least when it comes to their matte pressed powder blushes. But when you actually go to apply them to your cheeks, you realize that, oh, okay, there was actually a lot of thought put behind this formulation. It's definitely not the same as an eyeshadow. It was made to accentuate your cheeks. Even though it's a matte formula and it looks very much so in the pan, it's not dry looking at all once it's on your skin. Like, I wouldn't say shiny, but there's definitely an ever so slight sheen when you blend it out on your cheeks like I have right now. Just gives you a really nice natural flushed look overall, even when the color itself might not necessarily be so natural. If you take care of your skin decently, or you have on a hydrating foundation underneath or whatever, it's almost like the blush allows for the moisture from the layer of skin underneath to shine through, if that makes sense. So yeah, I am a fan of Colourpop blushes for sure. I can say that with my whole chest. They are very easy and intuitive to blend and build up, and you can achieve a really nice cloudy watercolory effect is how I would describe it. I actually used a denser brush to apply it today because my other face and blush brushes were dirty, but even with this I was able to get a really smooth, seamless blend. Like, it didn't turn patchy or cling to weird spots on my skin whatsoever. And also, very random, but I could have sworn that I saw the tiniest hint of micro glitters dispersed throughout this powder. I don't know if you guys can see. It could have just been residue from my brush, but I don't know, I feel like they were actually built in. Like, can you guys see? Probably not. I'm sure the camera probably can't pick this up, but I just feel like there is actually the tiniest sprinkle of glitter built into this blush. Basically, okay, I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying this launch so far, but I also feel like Colourpop has been gaslighting me for this entire video. First with that one weird eyeshadow shade, and now with the blush, and I don't appreciate it. So last but not least, we move on to the Fresh Kiss lip creams, and these also come in the special Valentine's Day packaging and artwork. And I feel like my ring light is washing it out, but there's also a heart detailing on the caps here. So I picked up 2 shades. The first one is in Smoochin', which is an ever so slightly cool toned neutral beige color, and then also Date Night, which is like a bright strawberry pink. It appears slightly darker in the tube than it actually looks on the lips. Okay, so these are the only 2 lip creams that I got, therefore these are the only 2 that I can go off of. But I want to read you the description of the product from their website first. So it says, what is a Fresh Kiss lip cream? A lush hybrid formula that combines the color of a lipstick with the care of a lip balm. I'm gonna have to disagree on that last part because I didn't put on any primer or chapstick underneath today, and I can feel like it's not comfortable to me. It's not like shrinking up completely, but it's also, I wouldn't exactly call it hydrating. I can definitely feel the moisture leaving from my lips, and it's only been a few hours. I can only imagine if I were to leave this on my lips the whole day, I think it would be a safe bet to say that my lips would not feel hydrated at the end of the day. And in fact, even now I can feel my lips peeling a little bit. So I'm not saying that that is solely the fault of the lip cream. I also need to exfoliate. But yeah, I would not say that this formula gives you hydration necessarily. But let's continue. Delivers a comfortable color with a creamy matte finish for ultra smooth kissable lips. Okay, so here's the thing. Remember in the beginning when I said that I was intrigued by these because they reminded me of a lot of Korean lipsticks that are out right now. Now, I can't speak for the other shades in this range, but I will say that I was very thrown off by the difference in formulation between these 2 shades alone. So the first shade, Smoochin', was pretty much exactly what I expected in terms of comparability with a lot of Korean liquid lipsticks. It has a very moussey, thick texture. But then the strawberry pink one, Date Night, I think you can even see on the back of my hand here, this one is noticeably shinier and has more of a lacquer-like effect. And these are not like fresh swatches. I've had these on the back of my hand for the past 5 minutes that I've been talking. So yeah, you can see that Date Night is definitely much shinier and wet looking than Smoochin'. I even had to double and triple check the labels, or you know, the box, to make sure that I got the same formula for both. Sure enough, it does say lip cream loud and clear on both of the boxes. Again, I enjoyed both of them. I think they're very pretty on the lips. Not exactly the most comfortable, especially when you're talking, leaving these on for long periods of time, because I can already feel it like kind of tightening up and drying up the top layer of skin on my lips. So I can't say that this is a total home run like the eyeshadow palette and blush, but I do enjoy them well enough. I think the shades are very pretty and I like a thicker formulation in general when it comes to liquid lipsticks. Just be warned though that the formulation might vary depending on which shade you pick up. I've actually never seen like this much of a difference in finish based on just the color alone, especially for a lipstick. Like I can understand for an eyeshadow some colors are really hard to make pigmented versions of, but for a lipstick, for the most part, all different shades under the same line, even if it's something crazy like blue or purple, they all tend to have pretty much the same finish. So I'm not sure what this is all about. Again, gaslighting, which I don't appreciate.
Who are you?
Who am I? I'm Jim. We've been working together for 12 years.
You're not Jim. Jim's not Asian.
You seriously never noticed? Hey, hats off to you for not seeing race.
But anyway, that is pretty much all I have to say about the Colourpop Secret Admirer collection. At the end of the day, I ended up really loving every single item I picked up, which could be a good or bad thing depending on which way you look at it, because now my only inclination is to buy more, especially these heart-shaped blushes. I mean, I totally understand the hype behind them. I know that it's so simplistic, like a heart-shaped blush. Wow, really? You can't think of anything more original than that? But listen.
Florals for spring. Groundbreaking.
Sometimes the simple things are the most effective, okay? So I'm actually debating right now if I want to pick up some of the other shades because I saw that they're back in stock on their website. Colourpop also released another 4-color quad collection called the Smoothie Collection, I think, something like that. In all likelihood, I'm probably gonna pick those up as well because one of the fruits is strawberry. And you know, I have to have that for political reasons, right? But yeah, I'm on the fence on whether or not I should just throw in a few of the other heart-shaped blushes into my cart this time, because here's the god honest truth, like I really don't need any more blush. I have way too many blushes, but at the same time,
turn down for what?
So yeah, that's basically my review on the Secret Admirer collection. Really good experience with all of the products this time around, minus the gaslighting part. But aside from that, I really enjoyed everything. Pink is one of my favorite colors. It's not reserved for Valentine's Day alone, so I definitely can see myself using these on a regular basis. Let me know your thoughts down below. What did you think of this collection? Are you planning to pick it up, or have you already picked it up? Did you see what I saw with the tiny little inconsistencies that we picked up on throughout this video? Or do you think that I'm crazy and or possibly colorblind in some way? Okay, with that being said, thank you so much for joining me and I will see you in my next video. Bye!